How are you, students? I hope you are fine and you are enjoying at your home. Don't waste your time. Follow the online classes and you be thorough with the classes. All of you, please, every one of you, I request you to go through the classes. Okay. So in your seminar, you might have discussed about the ventilators. So in detail, we will have a session on ventilators. And next session we will have nursing management of a patient who is on mechanical ventilator. So first we will discuss what is ventilation. What is ventilation? It's nothing but ventilation is nothing but entry of air into from the atmosphere to the lungs, and from lungs the exchange of gases takes place to the tissues, and from the tissues the carbon dioxide or the waste will be going out of the body, and so that ventilation takes place. So now we will see what is the care of a patient on ventilator. So first, what is definition we will see. A mechanical ventilator is a positive or negative pressure breathing device that can maintain ventilation and oxygen delivery for a prolonged period of time. So it is either positive or a negative pressure breathing device that can maintain the ventilation, that can just act as the ventilator device. Then before we see into the topic, so we will have a small discussion of the, small review of the terminology. First, what is tidal volume? See, the lung volume representing the normal value of air displaced between normal inhalation and exhalation when extra effort is not applied. So how much of air that has been inhaled and exhaled, it is called tidal volume, the amount of air, volume of air. Next, residual volume, the amount of air remaining in the lungs after fully exhaling. See, after even if you exhale the air, some amount of air will be there in the alveoli, so that the alveoli will not completely collapse. So the normal mechanism of alveoli will be retained because of residual volume. Next is inspiratory pressure. It is the highest level of pressure applied to the lungs during inhalation in mechanical ventilation. The number reflects a positive pressure in centimeters of water pressure. In normal breathing, it may be referred to as the maximal inspiratory pressure, which has a negative value. So this pressure is responsible for movement of the air, pressure difference or pressure gradient. Next is peak inspiratory pressure. It is typically 12 mm of mercury. It is best if ventilation is adjusted according to the arterial or end tidal carbon dioxide tensions. Next, positive end expiratory pressure, which is also called PEEP, PEEP. It is a pressure in the lungs above atmospheric pressure that exists at the end of expiration. See, even at the end of expiration, some amount the pressure air will be there in the lungs, so that air is responsible for creation of pressure. See, that pressure will be more than the atmospheric pressure. This pressure gradient is responsible for movement of air or ventilation. Okay, next we will see what are the indications of ventilators. See, where there is in the patient, if we see there is evidence of respiratory failure or compromised airway, endotracheal intubation and mechanical ventilation. These are the indications for ventilators. Now we will see what are those conditions which have this respiratory failure or compromised airway, like thoracic or abdominal surgery, drug overdose, neuromuscular disorders, inhalation injury, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, multiple trauma, shock, multi-system failure and coma. All these are the indications for use of mechanical ventilator. Now we will see what are the laboratory indications for mechanical ventilator. See, even if the patient has the previous indications which we have seen, by examining the laboratory values, we can confirm that the patient needs mechanical ventilation. See, when the partial pressure of oxygen is less than 55 mm of mercury and PaCO2 be greater than 50 mm of mercury and pH less than 7.32 when the patient is going into respiratory acidosis, and vital capacity which is less than 10 ml per kg. Negative inspiratory force less than 25 centimeter of water, and FeV1 less than 10 ml per kg body weight. These are the indications. If we examine the patient, if these laboratory values are satisfied, then definitely the patient needs mechanical ventilation. Then these laboratory indications can be manifested in the form of either apnea or bradycardia, respiratory distress with confusion, increased work of breathing that will not be relieved by any other interventions, confusion with need for airway protection, and circulatory shock. All these are the clinical manifestations of these laboratory indications. Next, we will see what is the classification of ventilators. These mechanical ventilators are traditionally classified into the method by which they support the ventilation, and in general they can be classified as negative pressure ventilators and positive pressure ventilators. Negative pressure ventilators are older modes of ventilatory support which are not used now, and nowadays these negative pressure ventilators are very rarely used today, but we are using only positive pressure ventilators. So what are these positive pressure ventilators? They inflate the lungs by exerting positive pressure on the airway, pushing air inside, which is similar to bellows mechanism, and forcing the alveoli to expand during inspiration, and expiration occurs passively. This positive use of these positive pressure ventilators requires definitely endotracheal intubation or tracheostomy, which is an invasive procedure. And three types of positive pressure ventilators are classified by the method of ending the inspiratory phase of respiration. They are volume cycle, pressure cycle, and high frequency oscillatory support. The fourth type of positive pressure ventilators are also available, which is called non-invasive positive pressure ventilators, which does not require any endotracheal intubation or any tracheostomy. Next, what are the volume cycle ventilators? Volume cycle ventilator delivers a preset volume of air with each inspiration. See, we will set the ventilator so that some constant amount of ventilator will be constant amount of volume of air will be delivered to the lungs by inspiration. Once this preset volume is delivered to the patient, the ventilator cycles off and exhalation occurs passively. From breath to breath, the volume of air delivered by the ventilator is relatively constant, ensuring consistent adequate breaths despite varying airway pressures. See, without any noticing the pressure, airway pressures, only the volume of air will be given from time to time by the ventilator. The major disadvantage with this ventilator is that patient may experience barotrauma because the pressures required to deliver the breaths may be excessive. See, when the pressures are more, or because of excessive pressures, the patient may sustain any injuries, lung injury due to excessive pressures. That is the only disadvantage by this volume cycle ventilators. Next is pressure cycle ventilators. When the pressure cycle ventilator cycles on, it delivers a flow of air until it reaches a preset pressure, and then cycles off and expiration occurs. Here, there in volume cycle, volume is preset, but here in case of pressure cycle, the pressure is preset. So with the preset pressure, the ventilator gives the respirations. The major limitation with this ventilator is the volume of air or oxygen can vary as the patient's airway resistance or compliance changes. As a result, the tidal volume delivered may be inconsistent, possibly compromising the ventilation. This is the only limitation or disadvantage. The next one is the high frequency oscillatory support ventilators. This type of ventilators deliver very high respiratory rates, which are accompanied by low tidal volumes and high airway pressures. These small pulses of oxygen enriched air moves down the center of the airways, allowing alveolar air to exit the lungs along the margins of the airways. This ventilatory mode is used in closed small airways such as atelectasis and acute respiratory distress syndrome. Even in case of coronavirus associated ARDS also, this high frequency oscillatory support ventilators will be used. It is also thought to protect the lung from pressure injury or barotrauma. trauma. Next is non-invasive positive pressure ventilators. See, in the previous types of ventilators, we have seen that the patient requires endotracheal intubation or tracheostomy. They are invasive. It requires invasive procedures. Here, in case of non-invasive positive pressure ventilation, there is no such endotracheal intubation or tracheostomy. See, patient will have only a mask, face mask, which covers the nose and mouth, or nasal masks, or other oral or nasal devices such as the nasal pillow. With that pillow can be attached to the ventilator and it delivers the ventilation. It ventilates the patient. Since NIPPV eliminates the need for intubation or tracheostomy and thus minimizing hospital-acquired infections or nosocomial infections. And patients are candidates for NIPPV if they have acute or chronic respiratory failure, acute pulmonary edema, COPD, chronic heart failure, or a sleep-related breathing disorder. So this non-invasive positive pressure ventilation is better for patients who are having even coronavirus infection also, because this coronavirus infection there are more chances of aerosols spreading if we use invasive technique. So there are chances of spreading the infection. That is why non-invasive positive pressure ventilation is better for patients with coronavirus infection. This NIPPV is contraindicated for those who have experienced respiratory arrest, serious dysrhythmias, cognitive impairment, or head or facial trauma. And some other types are also there. Continuous positive airway pressure, which provides positive pressure to the airways through the respiratory cycle. And continuous CPAP, it is the most effective treatment for obstructive sleep apnea because the positive pressure acts as a splint, keeping the upper airway and trachea open during sleep. And to use this CPAP, the patient must be breathing independently. Bilevel positive airway pressure ventilation, it offers independent control of inspiratory and expiratory pressures while providing pressure support ventilation. It delivers two levels of positive airway pressure provided by a nasal or oral mask, nasal pillow, or mouthpiece with a tight seal and a portable ventilator. Next, what are the different modes of ventilators? See, what is ventilator mode? It refers to how breaths are delivered to the patient. So, the most commonly used modes are continuous mandatory, intermittent, synchronized intermittent mandatory ventilation, pressure support ventilation, and airway pressure release ventilation. See, what is continuous mandatory ventilation? It provides full ventilatory support by delivering a preset tidal volume and respiratory rate. This mode of ventilation is indicated for patients who are apneic, who are completely unable to take respirations. In such patients, this continuous mandatory ventilation. It continuously gives ventilation. It is compulsorily gives ventilation. That is why it is called continuous mandatory ventilation. Next is the assist control ventilation. It is similar to continuous mandatory ventilation in that the ventilator will deliver preset tidal volumes and also at a preset rate of respirations. If the patient initiates a breath between the machine's breaths, the ventilator delivers at the preset volume. Therefore, every breath is the preset volume in case of assist control ventilation. Suppose if the patient is able to take breaths in between the machine's breaths, the ventilator will deliver the preset volume in case of assist control ventilation. Next is the intermittent mandatory ventilation. It provides a combination of mechanically assisted breaths and spontaneous breaths. Mechanical breaths are delivered at preset intervals and a pre-selected tidal volume regardless of the patient's efforts. In intermittent mandatory ventilation allows patients to use their own muscles for ventilation to help prevent muscle atrophy, thereby preventing barotrauma. And because there is no barotrauma or injury to the lungs or injury to the muscles of respiratory muscles, and also it gives this intermittent mandatory ventilation, the ventilator which uses this mode gives at preset intervals and pre-selected tidal volume. This is the most advantageous one used nowadays. Another one is synchronized intermittent mandatory ventilation, also delivers a preset tidal volume and a number of breaths per minute. Between ventilator delivered breaths, the patient can breathe spontaneously with no assistance from the ventilator on those extra breaths. See, when the patient is able to take breaths, this ventilator will not give any breaths or tidal volume. When the patient is not able to do, then only it can give the ventilation. This is also an advanced mode of ventilation. Next is pressure support ventilation. It applies a pressure plate to the airway throughout the patient triggered inspiration to decrease resistance within the tracheal tube and ventilator tubing. Pressure support is gradually reduced as the patient strength increases. Pressure support ventilation, it gives only when the patient is not able to take respirations. When the patient is able to take, then it will allow the patient to take breaths spontaneously. Thereby it strengthens the patient's respiratory muscles. And another one is airway pressure release ventilation. It is a time triggered, pressure limited, time cycled mode of mechanical ventilation that allows unrestricted spontaneous breathing throughout the ventilatory cycle. The inflation period will be long here and the breaths may be initiated spontaneously as well as by the ventilator. The most advantage of this airway pressure release ventilation is less ventilator induced lung injury, fewer side effects or adverse effects on cardiocirculatory function, and being associated with lower need for sedation and neuromuscular blockages. In some of the cases, if the patient is irritable, they may need some sedatives and neuromuscular blockages. But in case of this mode of ventilation, patient does not require any drugs for sedation or neuromuscular blockade. This is the most advantageous one with this airway pressure release ventilation. Next, another one is proportional assist ventilation provides partial ventilatory support in which the ventilator generates pressure in proportion to the patient's inspiratory efforts. So with every breath here, the ventilator synchronizes with the patient's ventilatory efforts. The more inspiratory pressure the patient generates, the more pressure the ventilator generates, amplifying the patient's inspiratory effort without any specific pre-selected target pressure or volume. It generally adds additional muscle to the patient's effort. The depth and frequency of breaths are controlled by the patient. When the patient is in this ventilation, mode of ventilation, when the patient is not able to take adequate or when the patient breath is not able to satisfy the tidal volume and respiratory rate, this ventilation will provide an additional support to the patient in order to maintain ventilation. Okay. So next, adjusting the ventilator. So this is the important role of the nurse or responsibility of the nurse. We should know how to adjust the ventilator. So the ventilator should be adjusted so that the patient is comfortable and breathes synchronously with the machine. Minimal alteration in cardiovascular and pulmonary dynamics will be designed. That is the main motto of adjusting the ventilator, main principle of adjusting the ventilator. If the volume ventilator is adjusted appropriately, the patient's arterial blood gas values will be satisfactory and there will be little or no cardiovascular compromise. Next, initial ventilator settings. How we have, as nurses, we have to know how initially the ventilator settings must be. We have to set the machine to deliver the tidal volume required. See, approximately 10 to 15 ml per kg, this is the normal tidal volume. This is a requirement. We have to set the machine this so that it provides this tidal volume. Then adjust the machine to deliver the lowest concentration of oxygen to maintain normal partial pressure of oxygen, nearly 80 to 100 mm of Hg. This setting may be high initially but will gradually be reduced based on arterial blood gas results. And record peak inspiratory pressure. You set the mode, which mode is required to the patient, you have to set. Then adjust sensitivity so that the patient can trigger the ventilator with a minimal effort. You have to adjust the sensitivity of the ventilator. Then record minute volume and obtain arterial blood gases to measure carbon dioxide partial pressure, pH and partial pressure of oxygen after 20 minutes of continuous mechanical ventilation. So you have to set the ventilator so that after 20 minutes after continuous mechanical ventilation, it displays all these parameters. Then adjust setting according to the results of ABG analysis to provide normal values or those set by the primary provider. If there is poor coordination between the breathing rhythms of the patient and the ventilator, assess for hypoxia, and this is a time where the patient requires 100% oxygen with a resuscitation bag. That indicates that ventilator is not giving the required ventilator is not functioning, so that we have to remove the ventilator and ventilate the patient with 100% oxygen with a resuscitation bag. Okay, so these are the uh, ventilator settings, how we have to set the ventilators. Okay students, is it clear for you? I think you again go through your books and read once, then you will be very thorough with this topic. In next session we will see what is the nursing management of the patient when the patient is on mechanical ventilator. Okay student, next session we will continue.